All right, Shalom. I want to make sure that the audio is good. I'm seeing that I got a low Wi-Fi signal. Just give me a moment. I want to make sure that the audio is good. I'm seeing that I got a low Wi-Fi signal. All right. So, all right. Let's see. Matter of fact, let's just do this. I'm gonna change it up today. I'm gonna try to get closer to the Wi-Fi signal because I don't want to be choppy. So just give me a minute. All right. So we're going to do the lesson right here today. Okay, so as the title reads, the build up to the third woe. And pretty much I wanted to go into a historical timeline as well as a prophetic timeline to show you that we are already in the build up, to the third woe. And let me make sure the audio is good. I try to have a little music backdrop. I have neighbors. Okay. All right. So that should be good. All right. So Fawadi Abashim Al-Shad, Bashim Kakwadash gave me the inspiration to do this lesson. And I've been wanting to do this for a few days. So, at the end of the day, we're just being inspired by the Rakakwadash. All right. So from there, let's go like this. And let's go right here. And let's jump right into it. So what I want to do is I want to show you some information here and basically compare and contrast how you see through history, all right, about the first woe, the second woe, and the third woe, which the first, the second, and the third war are found in the scriptures. Now, right here, this is the First World War, all right, which this started July 28th, 1914, and this war started because of the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, which is found in Revelations, the 9th chapter. Okay. Revelations 9:1, it says, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. This star is referring to Archduke Ferdinand. Okay. Because what I can do here is let's do this and let's actually look into it real quick. See, when did World War I start? Right there. The assassination of Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand. See that? So this is the star that fell, referring to Revelations, the 9th chapter, because the bottomless pit is referring to what? Europe. Okay. See, and it says in the star, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. So certain things have to happen, to cause a chain reaction of prophecy. And we've been seeing in particular signs that we know prophetically are going to lead to the third world war. Okay. Now just give me a moment here. All right. All right. Let's see where we sit. Just bear with me for a second. All right. Sometimes we go through obstacles to teach. So if you just bear with me. All right. I had to restart my Wi-Fi. But the show must go on. Okay. So when you go into the scriptures, it breaks down prophetically what you need to know according to the steps. And this has been something that I wanted to touch on for a little bit now, because we are in that season. Now, since I said season, let's go right here and let's go to Ecclesiastes. All right. And I believe it's the 7th or 3rd chapter. I always mix those up. Okay, let's go here first. I believe it's the 3rd. Yep. See, so there's a time for everything. So you have to understand, as a servant of Yahweh Shemel Shai, as a believer of Yahweh Shemel Shai, as sheep following Yahweh Shemel Shai, there are in particular steps and things that have to happen, necessarily to lead to the next step. Okay. And if you don't have that understanding, you're going to lose patience. You're going to falter. You're going to fall. You're going to lack faith. And a lot of our people that are following these wicked and false shepherds are being led astray. So when in particular things happen, and they don't have correct understanding, they're going to think it's the end. Now, the ultimate destruction will not take place until the mandatory marking of the beast. All right. Now, what I want to do is read this one, Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So everything there's a season for. There was a season for you to learn. There was a season for you to be built up. There was a season for Esau to be in rulership. And now we're in this season of him falling. So there's one thing that I always like to say to myself, as well as in lessons, every day down is another day closer to the kingdom. So you have to remember that. Now, what I want to do is jump right down to verse 8, Ecclesiastes 3:8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. So we are not in a time of peace, okay? No matter who they elect, no matter what rhetoric they start spewing on the media. Remember, media is the goddess of illusion. You have to remember that, okay? So we are in a time of war. We're in a time where we are to lock into prophetic understanding, because no matter what they say, no matter who they vote in, no matter what happens across the board, we know that the will of the Lord is going to come forth. And matter of fact, what does Isaiah 46:11 say? Let's see what Isaiah 46:11. Let me see. Okay, Isaiah, this is what came to mind. Isaiah 46:10, declaring, okay, let's start at 9. It says, remember the former things of old, for I am Yahweh, and there is none else. I am Yahweh, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning. So this is what I'm saying. So no matter what is going on in the world, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen across the board, and people are going to go here, they're going to go there, they're going to sway this way, they're going to sway that way, they're going to believe in lies, they're going to believe in false hope. But we, at the end of the day, no matter what, know what's happening. Okay. Declaring the end from the beginning, from the ancient times, the things that are not yet done. Okay, this is why we are in the build up to the third woe. Okay, and I'm going to go into some more historical timelines, because I want to show you how the build up to the to the build up to the first woe and the second woe, and Babylon's part that they played in it. Because you can have war break out, but that doesn't mean that Babylon is going to jump in immediately. And what you're going to see through history, because there's nothing new under the sun, what's taking place right now with Magog and Ukraine, with Amalek and Persia, which is Iran. What you are seeing right now is the same playbook that happened during the first woe and the second woe. Okay, and I'm going to go into that so you have a more clear understanding where you're at. Okay, and really what you should be looking for is following the dollar, following the digitalization. One thing that I notice when I go to like the grocery store is I always see cash not accepted. Okay, that's something I see. Okay, like self-checkouts, a lot of times for up here, for the most part, a lot of places don't accept cash in self-checkouts, but they still accept it at registers. So why am I saying that? Because we understand that the MOTB, what John the Revelator saw was money was a big money was a part of the MOTB, buying and selling. Okay, so those are things that you should keep in your mind as we continue to wait for Yahushua to come and deliver us and the destruction of Babylon. It says, and from the ancient times, the things that are not yet done. So it's not yet, right? What did Jules say in Pulp Fiction? Ain't quite time yet. Okay, saying my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. So the end was declared from the beginning. So we are on a spiritual, biblical countdown, okay, like an hourglass. So Esau is on his last grain of rulership. So now that I said that, what I want to do is jump back into this. So when you look at the First World War, okay, we see biblically the star that fell from heaven was the Archduke Ferdinand, who was assassinated. This led to the First World War, which we see right here in Revelations 9. Okay, the fighting, in the air, things of that nature. All right, so right here, okay, this is talking about the First World War. Now, what I want to show you is the First World War was declared July 28th, 1914, but Babylon wasn't in the war at 1914. When did Babylon join? Babylon joined in 1917. So that's what, 3 years later. Okay, so why did Babylon join? Right here. In early April 1917, with the toll in sunken U.S. merchant ships and civilian casualties rising, Wilson asked Congress for a war to end all wars. Now, immediately what comes to mind, because these are all Edomites fighting, right? because that's German, Poland. So that's Revelation 6. This is Edomite wars, okay? Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse. Horse represents what? Power. How much horsepower does this car have? Okay. And there went out another horse that was red, who came out red all over like a hairy garment. Okay. Now, Esau, when he was not born as a little hairy baby. All right. We are in a time now for you brothers and sisters that you need to focus on, in particular doctrine. You can't be in this truth and following this camp and that camp. You have to get settled, because if you're following Great Millstone, humbly speaking, you're following Yahweh Shai. But when you're following other camps, T-shirt fringe Israelites, you're really following a false shepherd, and they're going to give you a different spirit. So you may have different understandings of doctrine and breakdowns, because not everyone has the truth. That's what makes it the truth, because there's so much lies. You have to have lies to distinguish from truth. Okay. It says, and there went out another horse that was red, meaning representing Esau, and power, Job 9 and 24, was given to him that sat thereon to take what? Peace from the earth. What ultimately takes peace from the earth? War. This is why it says they shall learn war no more. This is the war to end all wars. Now, you had, real quick, let me do this. What did Albert Einstein say? I'm sure you heard it. Albert Einstein, World War III quote. What did he say? Albert Einstein famously speculated, I don't know with which weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Meaning what? Meaning once the World War III happens, nuclear, okay, they will be bombed to hell and back, meaning they're not going to have a civilization to have a fourth war. And that's prophetic, because the scriptures only speak about a first, a second, and a third world war. So this will be a war to end all wars, because after this, we will be in rulership. We will be in power. Remember Psalms, the heathen imagine a vain thing. Okay. And this is why, too, I just got to say this real quick with the whole false prophecy from Hassad. I see why Apostle Peter quoted Psalms 2 in the book of Acts, because that is a vain thing to imagine that Magog, meaning Russia, is going to rise up after the third war, after Yahweh Shai comes back, after the elect is changed into new bodies, and they're not going to fight. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much into that, but I just had to, make mention of that. So now that I said that, let's finish this. It says, Rev 6 and 4, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. This word peace goes into harmony, and that they should kill one another. What is World War I? Who was involved in World War I? Look, Austria, Hungary, Poland, Germany. Okay, so this is all, these are all Edomites. Okay, these are all Edomites right here. All right, so finishing off. It says, and they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And we see that great sword. We see that the conception of the great sword in the Second World War. Okay, the Manhattan Project, which is Isaiah 54. Okay, the Lord gave man, specifically Esau, the ability to create atomic and nuclear weaponry, and that was always set up for him to destroy himself in the third war, which we are seeing the buildup for it now. So let's continue. All right, so the First World War, all right, it started 1914, but there was an in particular event or events that played out to lead Babylon into this war. So now let's fast forward to the Second War. The Second World War started in what? 1939, which I believe this was Germany invading Poland. Yes, okay. Germany, Poland, Britain, France. That's what? That's the EU, that's NATO. That's a part of the beast, because West Germany is a part of NATO. And that's because of the Second World War. See that? So these are all Edomites. So this is Rev 6 and 4. They shall make war with one another, just like here in Babylon. When you go into Daniel, the 7th chapter, the conception of Babylon the Great started with 3 in particular major wars that took place here in Babylon. And those were all with what? Edomites. Okay, so Esau is a warlike nation. So now let's see. So 1939, Germany, Tiemann invades Poland, right? But when did Babylon get into that war? Well, let's look. When you go into it, the Second War started in 1939, but what is this? 2 years later, it wasn't until what? The Babylon formally entered. See, they formally entered. So we're waiting for Babylon to formally enter conflicts that are happening throughout the world. Okay. So it says Babylon formally entered the second woe on December 8th, 1941, after Moab surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. See that? Now, what did they do in this world? Okay, they dropped fat man and little man. And now, is that in the scriptures? Absolutely. And we're going to go into it. So, what we're seeing is the build up. So, you have to understand the dynamics of world war. There's going to be conflicts throughout the earth, like Yahweh Shai told us, but there's going to be something in particular that's going to lead Babylon into conflicts throughout the world. But what you see in history is Babylon has always been in it financially, aiding, like you see with Ukraine. So that's an act of war upon who? Magog, while they're having their own in particular problem. So Germany invades Poland, Russia invades Ukraine, Amalek attacks Iran. So you got to understand the buildup and the aspect of how these things are going to play out. So let's go into Revelations 13, more prophetic. If you notice, we're all in Revelation, okay? Revelations 13 and 11. I hope I'm not going too fast. It says, and I beheld another beast meaning what? An empire coming up out of the earth. And this beast is talking about Babylon. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The two horns represent Democrat Republic, plebeian patrician, same as the Roman Empire. We are in the Roman revival, okay? But he speaks, it's as a lamb, but he spake as a dragon, power. Okay. And he exercises all the power of the first beast. The first beast is referring to the Roman Empire. And even when you look on a map at NATO, the landmass of the countries that are have formulated NATO after the Second War, they're in ancient Roman Empire land. Okay. When you actually look at it, it says before him, let me read it again. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. And the deadly wound, meaning the Roman revival coming back on the scene and exercising the same power tactics that it did when it was on the scene, making the earth quiet before them, making it conform to its regulations like we see now. Okay, democracy, you put it together, all right, which it's not. It's really a commie-con country. You should know what I mean, because me even making certain statements, they can actually clip my video, which has happened in the past. So we have we so-called have freedom of speech, but that's not the case. Okay, so I'll talk about that more later if the Spirit allows. But it says whose deadly wound was healed. So Rome's deadly wound was healed by the establishment of Babylon's money, currency, and image. Right now, look, here it comes. This is a part of the Second War, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And that happened with the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, okay, when they joined that war. All right. So let's see, what do we want? So right here, the Second War, and then you had the bombing. All right. You had the bombing. All right. So once they got attacked, so-called, they attacked back, and that's how they entered the war. And then they, let's just do this. Actually, let's duplicate it just so in case we need to go back. Let's put fat man. Yep, right here. Okay, let's look this up real quick. See? All right, what was the significance of fat man and little man? It says for instant records, implosion, it cared, blah, blah, blah. What do we want? Let's put first atomic bomb drop. Let's see what comes up. See that? The atomic bombs that ended the Second War. Okay, so this is when fire came down from heaven. All right, and who did it? Babylon. See, so when we go into the scriptures, we can also see what was written aforetime, and then time has to play out for these prophecies to come to pass, and then we see it happening. So Babylon made fire come down from earth, and so much that I believe Japan, they basically, let me put this in Japan. How can I word it? But basically, after they got bombed, Japan was like, we don't have a military. Japan stopped. Let's put this in. Stopped military. Let me see. Surrender of Japan. Yep. See, it says the role of the atomic bombings in Japan unconditionally surrender in the ethics of two attacks. The attack. Let's see. Why did Japan? But basically, they basically ended their military, their military after they got bombed. So that was a very big moment in history, and that's found right in the scriptures. So as we see, World War I, it was outside forces fighting, and then Babylon got involved because something happened. Okay, World War II, You had outside forces fighting, then something happened and Babylon got involved. Now there's speculation that they knew about the Pearl Harbor attack, but they allowed it to happen so that they could enter. And that's just a tactic that Esau, the cunning hunter, always does, is he allows himself to be attacked. So he's showing the world that he's on the defense. So right now, what we want to do is we want to fast forward to the third woe. Okay, Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So this is where we're at right now. We're actually at seeing the third woe coming very quickly. So if you look at through a process of time, nothing new under the sun, you see how there's outside conflicts and Babylon is continuing like normal, but then out of nowhere, quote unquote, something happens to Babylon. Mind you, Babylon's sticking its nose in everybody else's business, as they're supposed to, because it's Babylon the Great. But what Babylon does is, well, I was just sending aid and they sunk our merchant ship. But what they're not telling you is the merchant ship that you're doing, you're sending to help these guys that are killing us. So of course they're going to react and say, let's stop this equipment from getting to them, because if they get that, they're going to decimate us. Okay, so Babylon portrays itself as, I'm just helping and I'm not doing nothing, I want peace. That's not always the case. That's never the case, but they try to present that through the mass media of delusion upon the people, and then they believe the lie. Like right now, everybody is believing Amalek, but then you have an outside force that's not believing Amalek, which is causing what? A conflict. And I want to say this too. Elder Apostle Tahar mentioned in one of his videos how Amalek is training Babylonian police. And I found it funny that right now Amalek is having a problem with Ishmael, who's claiming to be Palestine, which the real Palestinians, Philistine, are actually Hamites, but whatever. So when you see is you have these protesters here in Babylon, and you have police standing up against them, which is funny. Amalek is standing up Palestinian protesters over there. Now you have Babylonians who are trained by Amalek are standing up against protesters here. So you can put two and two together. Babylon and Amalek are now hand in hand with quote unquote the same problems. So it's very beautiful to watch play out. So now let's jump to some more information. We got that out the way. Let's click this. Okay, now let's look this up. So all I put in was, did World War III, did the third woe already start? And look right here. The third woe is already here. Now, why is that being said? Well, because you have, just like World War II, German, Poland, Russia, Ukraine. And just like German and Poland was, let's put this in. Did the U.S. aid Poland? Let me see. Poland in World War II. Let's see. It says Poland attacked by Teeman. A little over 2 weeks later, Russia, all right, fights against overwhelming forces of aggressor. The Western allies declare war on Hitler, but others than that did not come to help the Poles. So they allowed them to be attacked. So what you can also see is they can allow a nation, was Poland a U.S. ally in World War II? Both countries were part of allies. See, and they were allied to them. So you look at that. So you can see Babylon will come over and help a country, but this is really not your business, but it's happening biblically. It has to happen prophetically. So you'll see this is why the whole Ukraine situation, it was booming and aid, and we need to help, because that's showing the world that Magog is the aggressor. Okay, Magog is, we need to help them. So they always have this victim mentality to convince the masses that we don't want to enter this, but we have to enter it. So this is what you're seeing right now. And this is why Amalek is in the news so much, because remember, Amalek is going to draw Babylon into this war. So you have to understand that there's going to be something significant that's going to play out, a double F, and then they're going to blame Persia, who's Iran. So it's just going to happen. Okay. Now, what I want to do is get some words of Yahweh Shai. Okay. This is Matthew 24, and he already told us this. All right, let's start at 4. Matthew 24 and 4. And Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. This is why we get on the t-shirt, Fringe Israelites. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. Now, through a process of time, we heard of wars and rumors of wars, and we've seen these wars, but these were all prophetic as well. Now we're in the time of the third woe. It says, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Now, what I want to do is show you in another translation that the rumors also mean threats. I believe it's like the Let me see. Just give me a moment. And ye shall begin to hear of wars and reports of wars. Let's keep going. Right here, NLT. And you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. This is why the MOTB is constantly being brought up for edification for you to understand. So now that we're fast forward and we're up to date and we're seeing conflicts between who? Between Gog, Crane, Amalek, Iraq. So we're seeing all these things because these are the necessary steps that are leading to the third woe. So now we're at the point where something is going to happen. Something's going to happen with Amalek. Something's going to happen with Persia. Something's going to happen with Magog, and something's going to happen with Babylon to lead them into a third war and make the world see them as they're on the defense when in actuality they're the aggressor. Okay, they're really on the offense, but they're portraying that they're on the defense. Okay, and that's really what's happening. They're trying to rope them in. Okay, just like how you've seen with Hassad going to the brothers, they're trying to rope them in. All right, they're just trying to catch them so it looks like they're on the defense when in actuality you're the aggressor. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. Something's going to happen, and it's going to lead Babylon into the third woe. It's going to lead Edom into the third woe. Now, I put least of the flock, and it comes up right here. Okay, there's two in particular, least of the flock prophecies. And when you look at them, both of them lead to Esau and Babylon's destruction. So the least of the flock is talking about Amalek. And we see Amalek right now. And you also see, let me just look this up real quick. Watch this. Iran. Yep, see? Okay, you see? All right, 1 day ago, you see? But they're claiming to attack because they're being attacked. But what did Amalek say? No, we were attacked first. It's just like a sibling rivalry. You hit me. No, he hit them. Oh, he hit, pointing the finger. Okay, it's just sibling rivalry. They're children, man. Okay, these heathens are just children. Okay, they're just children with big guns. And at the end of the day, this is all the Lord's will. So you just got to follow the buildup and understand what's going on. So can there be some major attacks? Absolutely. But does that mean that we're at, does that mean that's the final destruction? No. So we still got to wait to see how the dollar is going to collapse, how the digital infrastructure is going to be put in place. But are we going to see some major more attacks on countries? Absolutely. Can we see something happen to Babylon? Yes, we could potentially see a so-called attack on Babylon, which just like World War II, the Pearl Harbor. We could see something major happen and they say, now we need to enter to defend ourselves to stop any other attacks when in actuality, they either allowed the attack or they attacked themselves and then they pointed the finger. Esau has to portray someone as the bad guy. Remember, he's a cunning hunter, okay? Just like the serpent, more cunning. And let's get that real quick. Genesis 27, okay? Let me see. What's Genesis 27? Let's go into this. So Genesis 27, and I just want to get how Esau is a man of the field. Real quick. Actually, I'll go to Genesis 25. That'll sum it all up. And then I'm going to get, we're going to break down the prophecy so you understand that as well. So Genesis 25 and right here. Genesis 25 and 27. It says, and the boys grew and Esau was a cunning hunter. You see that? You have traps. He has camouflage. So if you take the aspect of Esau being a hunter on an animal, how much more a hunter on the prey being other nations? Because remember in Genesis 3, it says he was more cunning than any beast of the field. Those beasts are referring to other nations, other people. Okay, so he has a leg up on society. This is why Esau is the head of the crafty council. Okay, it says, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And it says, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Now, Jacob being a plain man, meaning a righteous servant dwelling in the tent of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. And I'll actually show you. Because when you look into it, all right, it doesn't mean Jake's just in the house playing Madden, eating Cheetos, minding his business. No, it's deeper than that, okay? So when you look up this word, I just want to break it down because I remember when I first came in, I heard other Israelites teaching it differently. This is the correct doctrine. See, plain meaning perfect, complete, morally innocent, having integrity, ethnically pure, plain, undefiled, upright. So that's the word for plain. Now, what does the word tent mean? The word tent means, look at this, the sacred tents of Yahweh. Okay, so Jacob was a priest, okay, meaning he served Yahweh Shemel Shai in a priestly manner. So I just wanted to break that down just in case any new brothers or sisters are coming into this faith and you come across this, you have the proper understanding of these breakdowns. Breakdowns are extremely important. So now that I said that, we understand what's going on. I mean, if you haven't been living under a rock, you see what's happening, but now you understand why it's happening. Okay, so let's go back to this. So the least of the flock is pertaining to Amalek, and we see Amalek right now claiming that they're being attacked and they need help, they need aid. But this aid, now I have to get Ezekiel 38, because what's happening is Russia is going to turn its attention from Ukraine, and it's going to have to focus on its ally Persia, okay, because it's Mother Russia. So let's go to this real quick. When you go to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, okay, prophetically, all right, Ezekiel 38, you have to understand, okay, you have to understand that in particular nations are going to be being showcased, all right, and we're seeing Iran, who is Persia. Did you know that before it was coined Iran, it was actually named Persia? So let's put Persia changed. Yep, Persia changed to Iran. In what year? 1935. See this? In 1935, the Persian government changed the name of the country from Persia to Iran. Then when you go in the Bible, you see that Persia is Iran. Actually, let's see this real quick. Let's put, is Magog Russia? Let's put Russia. Look at this. See? Does the Bible say anything about Russian relations? See that? What country is Magog? Okay, let's keep going. I just want to see our Russian, Ukraine, and biblical prophecy. See this? See? See that? So people out in the world have somewhat of an understanding when it pertains to ancient nations in the Bible to modern nations today. Okay, so we're literally seeing that. Okay, so now I got that. I just wanted to see real quick. Let's read this. This is Ezekiel 38 and 1. It says, and I will turn, Ezekiel 38 and 4, and I will turn thee back, meaning that old USSR spirit, which Babylon prides itself of fighting against, when Babylon itself is in that same spirit of communist, okay, you get it. It says, and put hooks in thy jaw, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Here it goes. Look, Persia. And we now know who's Persia today. Persia today is in the news. Persia is actually saying they're going to attack the least of the flock, but they're attacking because they have been attacked. So this is all a smoke and mirrors, sleight of hands. Okay, they poke you and turn away. It's like in middle school when they say the girl hits you because she likes you. So it's really childish when you really look at it. But when you go through history, you see how these things played out. Okay, you hear of outside problems. And then who joins themselves? Babylon. Okay. Outside problems, then U.S. joins because they say something happened to us. But were you involved? That child, he hit me. But what did you do? Were you just sitting there and they hit you? Well, no, I went because that was their ball. And I see, so they don't mind their business. Babylon doesn't mind their business, but they're not supposed to because war is their business. And Amalek always gains more power through acts of war. Okay, so when you go through history, you can always see how Babylon played a major part in these woes, even though they weren't particularly involved in it. Then they allow themselves to be attacked so they can say, nope, now I have to fight too. It's just like Esau on the street. Hit me. He provokes you to hit him first. But what he's doing is he's antagonizing you to make you hit him. That's all they're doing right now. Amalek is provoking Persia to hit them. And what that's going to cause is a chain reaction because, as we see prophetically, Magog being Russia is allied with who Amalek is telling to hit. Then look, Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmets. So we see major key players that are going to be partaking in this next world's war. Okay, so now that I said that, let me break this down. So Jeremiah 49 and Jeremiah 50 pertaining to Esau and Babylon have the same prophetic outcome of destruction. But what's going to take place is the least of the flock is going to draw Babylon into this war. So we're going to see a major situation on Amalek and a major situation on Babylon, and they're going to point the finger, and that's going to lead to them entering this conflict of war that's already taken place, which then will be legally established as a world war. Okay, it says Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. So you have to remember, since we're in Genesis, let's go to Genesis. I believe it's 15:3. Genesis, what is this? Or 3:15. Let me get this real quick. Or Exodus. Let me see. What is it? Yeah, Exodus. Excuse me. Exodus 15. Let's see what that says. Exodus 15:3. And it says, and Yahweh Bashem El Shai is a man of war, and Yahweh is his name. So right here, the aspect of war is the aspect of war has been conceived by Yahweh Bashem El Shai. All right. And this is why there's the burden of Babylon in Isaiah 13. So we're witnessing the buildup, how it's going to play out. And you have to follow the major key players. Okay. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Edom. Okay. And what Edom? Edom here in Babylon. Watch. And it says, and his purposes that he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman, surely the least of the flock, that least little antagonizer, that little guy over there. Okay. When you go and look at our land, and Amalek is occupying our land, they're surrounded by what? Ishmaelites. Okay. And Ishmael has a very big problem with Esau being over there. And that's been a problem since the conception of Amalek gaining that land, which was prophecy as well. All right. Which let's get that real quick. Ezekiel 36:5, I believe. Let me show you that real quick. Ezekiel 36, just real quick. Ezekiel 36:5. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. Idumea is Esau, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart and despiteful minds to cast it out as a prey. So right here, we see that Esau is occupying the land of the true children of Yahweh Bashem El Shai, and the Lord has a spirit on Ishmael to wage war against them. But the prophecy says when the true children are in the land, they shall learn war no more. So, I just wanted to make mention of that. Now let's go back to this prophetic scripture. It says, the least of the flock, being Amalek, shall draw them out. See? Shall draw them out. Now, Babylon got drew out in the second war because Moab attacked them. So Babylon's going to get drawn out in the third war because Amalek's going to be attacked, or they were going to be attacked. So something pertaining to Amalek and these other nations is going to lead Edom. Is going to lead Edom to the third war, and in particularly not just Edom, because Edom is also the beast, but in particularly Babylon. Now watch. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Now watch, look. So this is pertaining to just Edom. Now look what the least of the flock is going to do to Babylon, who Edom is occupying. Jeremiah 50:45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Babylon. See that? And his purposes that he has purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, talking about here, right where we're at. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. You see that? So something's going to happen where it's going to lead Babylon out, because they're going to act as if we need to now defend against an aggressor. But behind the scenes, the only aggressor is Edom, is Amalek, is Babylon. So these nations are going to be portrayed as the boogeyman or the bad guy. And this is why you're going to see Magog, Russia, defend who's being called the bad guy, because these other nations know who is the bad guy. And actually, this is why they call, look at this, the Great Satan. Let me show you that real quick. What's this? Great Satan is a derogatory epithet used in some Ishmael majority countries to refer to Babylon. See that? So these other nations, that's one thing I always like to ponder in my mind, is what do these other nations say or think about Babylon that we're not seeing in the mass media? Okay, so you have to understand, across the pond in these other nations, they do not look at Babylon as comforting and here to help. They know they're aggressor. They know that they're evil. They know that they're the wicked. This is why Esau, Edom is the head of the crafty counsel found in Psalms 83. So I just had wanted to touch on that, just with everything happening across the board and you watching the news. So you have more of a biblical prophetic understanding and soundness in the mind of how this third woe is going to play out. So really, we're really focusing now on the MOTB, and as well understanding that expect some attacks, but expect them on in particular people, but also expect the narrative to be in favor of Edom, and now he has to defend. And this is why you're going to have the draft, and people are going to believe it. They're going to eat it up, just like the whole Trump and the boom boom and the So just continue to watch. But at the end of the day, make sure you understand the biblical timeline that we're in today. So I just want to do that real quick lesson. I pray it was edifying, and I just want to say call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKakwadash, and double honors to my elders and apostles, a great millstone that do well. With that being said, Shalom.